All right, we're gonna do a video on valuations, truck values. The most common question we get is, what is my truck worth? So in this video, we're gonna cover how we go about valuating them and what you can do to put a value on your truck as well. So stay tuned. All right, so in this video, I'm gonna cover how to value your truck, what to ask for it if you decide that you want to sell it. And I'll cover a little bit about how we value them, and I'll also cover a little bit about how difficult it is for us to value a truck, because people ask me all the time, what's my truck worth? Never even seen it. So that's really hard to put a value on a vehicle without inspecting it. So I'm gonna get into, first of all, how to value a truck. Comps is the biggest thing. What are similar trucks to yours selling for? I'm gonna use references like housing and real estate because it's really the same. When you get an appraiser, come look at your house, they're gonna look at, of course, the condition, all the features, everything the house has, but they're also gonna look at comps and they're gonna see what other houses have sold for in your market. So same thing goes for trucks. You know, if you were valuing a truck that's on the East Coast compared to a truck that's on the West Coast, and it's a pre-runner, that can go one of two ways. It's gonna sell easier and faster on the West Coast because of the desert, but because of the rarity of it on the East Coast, sometimes people will pay a premium for it because there's not that many out there. So stuff like that will always make the pricing a little tricky. So yeah, with all the variables of each individual truck, it's tough for us to put that dollar figure without inspecting it. So let's say you need to come up with a value so that you can list your truck for sale. The single biggest thing you can do is see what other trucks have sold in your market, wherever you live. They're similar: year, make, model, mileage, condition, list of modifications. You know, that all stuff comes into play. The single biggest thing that's overlooked that I just come up against people all the time, and I swear I waste half of my year going to look at trucks, is wear and tear and weather and rust and corrosion. Nobody wants a rusted truck, and there's so many trucks that park outside in the sun, get rained on, go off-road, come back, don't get washed and detailed. And in my opinion, those trucks, that's a 20% hit right there, because it's thousands of dollars, 40 hours. That's what I do, is rehab trucks, so I know how much time is involved. But that just devalues your truck. So, you know, I guess on a side note, if you're thinking about selling your truck, clean it up. Which brings me to those comps and making sure, if you are looking at trucks that have sold, let's say that, you know, you're looking at a Chevy Silverado crew cab short bed, both of them have long travel, both of them are U182 trucks with bed cages, they're on 37s and so on, but the one that just sold is squeaky clean, all the suspension's freshly powder coated, the shocks look great, there's no rust and corrosion on the frame, and you crawl into your truck and it looks like it's been in Louisiana. There's a big difference there, and if you think they're going to be worth the same amount of money, you're mistaken. So that's something to keep into consideration, that buyers are pretty smart about, and they'll inspect when they come and take a look at it. At least I know I do. So when you've kind of understood that overall condition, you know, as far as surface rust and you know, powder coating, paint, and so on goes, now you're kind of down to the list of mods. You know, it's pretty simple to compare year, make, model. You know, that stuff is on Kelley Blue Book type stuff, you know, Craigslist. But now when you start talking about mods, who built the truck? You know, was it a garage build? Was it somebody that knew what they were doing? What do the welds look like? There's a certain bit of street cred that comes along with a truck that's been built by a reputable shop. You know, people know that it's been built right. They're gonna pay a little bit more money for it. If you say, well, me and my buddy did it, that's fine, because there's a lot of people that are great fabricators in their garage. But you know, what's your background? What's your experience? What else have you built? You kind of have to prove yourself a little bit that your truck was built properly. And that's something I feel like a lot of people are up against when they go to sell their truck, is, you know, the home built stuff. And if it was done right, great. If it wasn't, you got to be careful of that. And, you know, other than the mods, it kind of comes down to, you know, chassis, suspension, drivetrain. There's probably a million YouTube videos on how to go buy a used vehicle and how to inspect it, and, you know, look at belts and hoses and, you know, was the timing chain done type of stuff, depending on what year it is. You know, what condition's the transmission in. I didn't really want to get into all that stuff, because this page is a little bit more specialty to pre-runners and off-road vehicles. and I think you can kind of get a mechanic to inspect the vehicle if you're leery about it. If you're a buyer, if you're a seller, you want to make sure everything's in working order. I can't believe how many trucks have oil leaks. Nobody wants to park a truck in their driveway or their garage with an oil leak. Fix the oil leak before you sell it. So, little things like that I think make a big difference and go a long way when you're trying to price your truck against the next truck. And appearance, and I'm just talking about body and paint. Dings, dents, scratches. A lot of trucks are just plagued with a bunch of dings, dents, and scratches, and they're probably, hopefully, priced accordingly. But these newer trucks, say a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 truck, a lot of people are expecting them to be pretty straight and scratch-free. So, if you are comparing your truck to another, does your truck have a dent in the tailgate? You got dents in the doors, you got some scratches here and there, you got a little bit of corrosion. That stuff has to be taken into consideration when you're putting a value on it, because somebody might say, okay, well, I like that truck, but I want to repaint the bedside. So now they just added another chunk of change to their budget. Well, let's take a quick look at suspension and kind of see, I'll show you some of the things that I look for and to look out for when you're buying a truck. Also, if you're getting ready to sell your truck and what you should maybe possibly clean up, or just take into consideration that you might get beat up on the price. All right, so for example, on this truck, it's got an LSK kit. Obviously, these trucks come powder coated from the factory. King shocks, everything on this truck is really, really clean, right? So let's go to the other side, and I'll give you an example of what I found on this truck before I bought it. See, all this powder coating has been damaged from training fluid. I guess there was a transmission hose leak at one point in time. So there is some stuff all over the frame with a little bit of paint being eaten up and the powder coating being eaten up. The proper way to fix this is to take the suspension apart and have these control arms stripped down and repowder coated. So that is something that is going to play a big part into the valuation of your truck based upon the condition, what needs to be done, and what the new owner might expect out of it. And what about paint? Look at this kind of stuff here. So this truck is already sold. The new owner's picking it up in a couple of days. But what? That's one of those things where, when you value the truck and you have little dings and you have little blemishes in the paint, that can make the difference in $5,000 value on the truck. So that would be a part of taking into consideration for what you're going to price your truck at. Wear items. I immediately think of suspension when I think of wear items like Heim joints, uni balls, tie rods, wheel bearings, all this consumable stuff that gets worn out just by driving, brakes, tires. So, does your front end wander? Do you have a clunk in the front? And you're trying to price your truck next to the guy that's his whole suspension's pristine because it's got 500 off-road miles and yours has got 5,000 off-road miles. You got to be realistic about that stuff. Possibly fix that stuff and make it not be an issue, because once people come to take a look at it and start finding problems, they'll start looking for more problems. And interior, I'm super big on wanting a clean interior. I can't stand odors, anything that's had pets in it. I just like my interiors to smell and feel like new. I put my family in my trucks. I typically like to be able to take my Prerunner to dinner or whatever, and I just don't want it to be gross inside. So, obviously we're not talking about caged and full metal interior cab trucks. I'm talking more about trucks that have carpet and nice seats. So the interior's got to be presentable. It's got to be clean. And again, you're comparing out there on the market with what's been sold. If there's little things that you can fix them, because it just makes that much of a difference. So I think interior is really important to look out for. Anything that you can take care of, take care of. If it's not, the price is going to be reflected accordingly. So if I had to kind of just sum it up real quick for how to value your truck, it's really going to come down to just finding trucks just like yours that have sold. How much did they sell for? Reach out to the seller or the new owner. Sometimes they'll share, sometimes they won't. I tend to notice a lot of people don't like to. But see if you can find out what it sold for. And make sure you're comparing apples to apples. If you're not, adjust accordingly. It's kind of tough. Everybody's kind of got a little dollar figure in the back of their mind. They kind of know what they want, right? But just make sure that you are being realistic with it. The market is huge. You know, a year ago we could get $5,000 more for half of these $30,000 to $40,000 trucks, and we're selling them for now because the market's changed. So that just is what it is. You can't do anything about that. But yes, we do valuations. We got to do them in person. So this isn't a sales pitch to have you bring your truck over here for a valuation, because a lot of people don't live anywhere near us. But partially I'm mentioning that because people ask me to evaluate their truck, and I can't see them in person, and I just don't feel comfortable. So there's that. If you have any questions, or you're getting ready to sell something and you want to run some stuff by me, you know, my Instagram DMs is the best place to get through to me, and send me some pictures, send me a list of mods, and I can probably help you sort that out and get a good price so that you can get the thing listed up. And obviously I'd love for you to post it on Desert Trucks. Yeah, I figured this video would just help a little bit for everybody to figure out how to value their truck, and hope it give you a couple little pointers. And reach out if you have any questions. Please like this video and make a comment down below if you have any comments or suggestions, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.